They say the western plains can steal a man's soul long before they take his life. And that night, under a sky scattered with silver stars, Ethan Cole sat alone beside his dying campfire, a man without family, without purpose, just drifting from one ranch job to another. The wind howled low through the canyons, whispering ghosts of a past he no longer spoke about. But destiny moves quiet, and that night it moved toward him on trembling feet. A faint cry broke through the silence, thin, scared, human. Ethan froze. He hadn't heard a voice that small in years. He grabbed his rifle and stepped into the brush, boots crunching softly against dry earth. The moon slid from behind the clouds, and there, near the edge of a cactus grove, he saw her. A little Apache girl, no more than 10, barefoot, bleeding, eyes wide with terror. Her small hands clutched a broken doll made of rags, her lips whispering something in a language he didn't understand. Ethan lowered his gun, voice soft as the wind. "Easy now, sweetheart. I ain't gonna hurt you." She didn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. For a moment she hesitated, then stumbled forward, exhausted, falling against his chest. He caught her before she hit the ground, and in that single moment, something inside him shifted. Behind them, on the far ridge, smoke curled up into the black sky. Ethan knew that smell, burned wood and gunpowder. Someone had raided her village. He looked back at her, at the streak of dirt and blood on her face, and whispered, "You've got no one left." "Have you?" The girl didn't answer. She didn't need to. He wrapped her in his coat, lifted her onto his horse, and rode through the dark toward the nearest town. By sunrise, they reached Dry Creek, a small, dusty town with more gossip than grace. People stopped and stared, a white cowboy bringing in an Apache child. Old Mrs. Callahan from the general store folded her arms. "Ethan Cole," she said sharply. "What trouble you bringin' this time?" Ethan set the girl gently on the porch. "Found her out by the hills." Whole camp burned. Mrs. Callahan frowned. "Apache?" He nodded. "Then best you ride her back to the fort before folks start talking." Ethan's jaw clenched. "The fort's the reason she's got no home left. I ain't taking her there." The woman sighed, muttering something about foolish men and soft hearts, then handed him a loaf of bread. "At least feed her proper." Ethan smiled faintly. "Appreciate it." That night, they camped in an old, half-broken cabin outside town. The firelight flickered against the girl's face as she ate quietly, still watching him with those wide, searching eyes. "What am I supposed to call you?" he asked. She just looked down at the doll in her lap. He thought for a while, then smiled softly. "Luma. I'll call you Luma. Means light." For a moment she looked up and smiled. It was small, but it was real. And Ethan felt that smile go straight through the walls he'd built around his heart. Days turned to weeks. Ethan taught Luma a few English words. Sun, horse, home. She followed him everywhere, feeding the horse, laughing when he dropped a bucket, humming strange little songs from her tribe. For the first time in years, the cabin didn't feel empty. Ethan would sit at night, watching her draw pictures in the dust with a stick. He'd tell her simple stories, not because she understood them, but because her laughter made the world feel alive again. But peace on the frontier never lasts. One afternoon, while Ethan was fixing a fence, he noticed something moving on the ridge. 4 riders, Apache. He reached for his rifle but froze when he saw the 5th figure. A woman. She rode like someone born of the wind, tall, strong, wrapped in deerskin, her long dark hair braided down her back. Her eyes were sharp and bright as firelight. Luma saw her too, and before Ethan could stop her, the girl cried out and ran. The woman jumped from her horse and dropped to her knees, pulling the child into her arms. The sound of their reunion, that raw, trembling cry, made Ethan's chest tighten. After a long moment, the woman looked up at him. "You save her," she said in broken English. "My child." Ethan nodded. "She was alone. I just did what anyone would have done." The woman shook her head. "Not anyone. Only heart that's still kind." She stepped closer. "My name Nayeli. My people go north now. Not safe here." Ethan looked at Luma, clinging to her mother's dress. "She's got you again. That's what matters." Nayeli studied his face for a long moment, then removed a necklace from around her neck. turquoise beads strung with a small carved feather. "This for you," she said. "It protect heart that does good." Ethan hesitated. "I can't take that." She smiled faintly. "You already did more than take. You give life." Then she reached out, touched his chest lightly, right where the necklace would rest. "Your heart strong but lonely. Someday this remind you. Love still live." Before he could speak, she turned and mounted her horse. Luma waved as they rode away, her little hand raised until the dust swallowed them whole. Ethan stood there alone in the wind, the turquoise necklace warm in his hand. He didn't know it then, but that moment, that meeting, had already changed the course of his life. Sometimes the things we save end up saving us.